The Astros wrap up the first half of the season, that is the ceremonial first half, on a sour note as they drop 2 out of 3 to the Texas Rangers, their in-state rivals. The season series is now tied at 5 games apiece, so with the final series being in Arlington, I believe in August. So whoever wins that series is taking the silver boot, but we'll preview that series later. But for the time being, guys, we're going to recap this series as well as my personal thoughts on the first half of the season, how that went for the Astros, and it's all coming up next. Stay tuned. It's kind of crazy to believe that roughly a month ago or so, the Astros were 10 games out of the division and 7 games under 500. And all of a sudden, here they are. They're 4 games above 500 and just a game out of first place, with the Mariners losing today or on Sunday, as of when I'm recording this, to the Angels. So, and that's going to be setting up a huge series for the Astros coming out of the All-Star break next weekend. It's going to be a very important series, dude. First place in the AL West is going to be up for grabs that weekend, and it should really be a fun series. So, but anyway, let's break down this current series against the Texas Rangers. First things first, let's dive into a couple of injury updates. I have a couple to share, not that much. Kyle Tucker, of course, he did say that he's feeling a little bit better. He has not gone out on his rehab assignment yet, but hopefully he can do that soon. And then, obviously, if all goes according to plan, he, Caratini, and also Verlander should be coming back sometime after the All-Star break. And speaking to the All-Star festivities, Yordan Alvarez is unfortunately going to be the only guy on the Astros that's going to be actually playing in the game. Jose Altuve did announce he's going to be sitting it out this year so that he can nurse his hand that he was hit by a pitch on last weekend in Minnesota. Personally, I'm okay with that because I think the older he gets, the more he's going to realize that the All-Star game is pretty much just a mid-season exhibition game. Do I want it to be more so focused on young players? Yes, but at the same time, I think it would be a disrespect for some more popular guys like Mike Trout or Shohei Ohtani. But again, that's just me. Let me know what you guys think about that. But anyway, let's break down this series. So starting off here in this first game, sadly, this was the one game that the Astros ended up winning. The Astros got the scoring started in this game, but not before some good defense by Chas McCormick in the first inning, robbing Adolis Garcia of what could have been extra bases, maybe even a run or two. And this was one of 2 instances throughout this series where he had actually robbed Garcia with a diving catch with his glove. So that was really cool to see. But the Astros had struck first in this game in the bottom of the 3rd inning after Corey Seager had actually double clutched a ground ball by Yordan that would have otherwise ended the inning had he gotten there in time. Yordan was able to beat the relay throw out, and Dubon, who was taking off from second on a full count pitch with 2 outs, he was taking off from second, but he did not actually stop running, and he was able to score the first run of the game for the Astros. The Astros would then add on to that later on in the 4th inning, and so an inning later, with a home run by Jake Myers, which was one of 3 home runs we would hit over the course of this game as a team. 1 inning later, Alex Bregman had hit a home run of his own to almost the same spot as Jake Myers did. But then came the 6th inning where Marcus Semien, he had actually reached base after a pitch in this AB that very certainly could have gone either way, but I personally think it really should have been a strike, which ended up being a bit costly because he ended up reaching base, and then one batter later, Corey Seager would hit a home run to the Crawford boxes to make it a 1-run game, and still in favor of the Astros. But then going into the bottom of the 6th came the big swing of the night by who else? Jose Altuve. That's right. So this had actually started with Jose Urena, the first guy out of the bullpen for the Rangers, retiring the first 2 guys of this inning. Then Mauricio Dubon would draw a walk with 2 outs. Chas McCormick had ended up getting an infield hit, so he would reach base. And then he and Dubon would advance another 90 feet to second and third, respectively, on a throwing error by the Rangers' third baseman, Josh Smith, which was one of 2 errors the Rangers had committed in this game. And that set the stage for Jose Altuve as he would hit a 3-run blast to left field, and it would be a historic home run for him as he ends up tying Astros legend Jimmy Wynn with 223 home runs on the Astros all-time list. Currently, as of right now, he is still tied with him. We'll see how things... So, I mean, at some point, he'll probably be alone ahead of him. The Rangers, 1 inning later, would end up scoring on an RBI single by Corey Seager. But that was as close as the Rangers would get this evening, as Josh Hader would get his 18th save of the season, as the Astros would extend their home winning streak to 10 straight games. But unfortunately, that streak would come to an end on Saturday, as the Astros, they had a lot of opportunities for scoring in this game, but unfortunately, they ended up dropping a rather a rather heartbreaking loss in Manfred innings. This was a game that, to be honest, they honestly kind of deserved to lose from the start, because Spencer Arrighetti gave up a leadoff home run, I believe, on the first pitch of the game to Marcus Semien. And Marcus Semien has just been owning us here at home, and I have no idea why. But the Astros would end up answering in the bottom of the first inning with an RBI single by Yanier Diaz to knot the score at 1. The Astros would then load the bases later on in that inning, but they could not capitalize on that. And they had honestly had a lot of opportunities in this game to try to score. The Rangers, of course, have certainly had more opportunities than us. But, I mean, if anything, the Rangers certainly were poised to win this game because they had much better plate discipline throughout the game. The Astros certainly had none of it whatsoever in this game. And honestly, for the rest of this series, their plate discipline was way off. But the controversy in this game came in the bottom of the ninth, where Mauricio Dubon had appeared to leg out an infield hit, but he was ruled out at first, and the call would stand after review. He ended up showing his displeasure with the call and ended up getting ejected over that, which, I mean, even looking at this picture, it certainly looks like he really is safe, but honestly, it's kind of hard to even tell. I mean, and it would make sense the call would stand, but, like, at the same time, dude, I don't get it. It's just kind of stupid. And then after the Rangers had scored their Manfred runner in the top half of the 10th inning, but the Astros were set up nicely in the bottom half of the 10th inning with the top of their order due up and Trey Cabbage starting the inning on second base as the Astros Manfred runner. But the Astros could not even plate him to third base. I mean, personally, I probably would wish that they could have bunted here. But being the top of our order, obviously the top of our order is not known for bunting. They're actually known for, actually hitting the ball. But they barely even could get a ball through the infield. Jose Altuve had hit a screaming line shot that was caught by Josh Smith on the first pitch. Alex Bregman, literally the next pitch later, had done something he has done pretty much all season, an infield pop-up. So, and then Yanier Diaz and then Yordan Alvarez, he would obviously get placed on base because seems like it's quite common for him. But, and then Yanier Diaz would strike out on just 3 pitches. That was the most pathetic performance that I think I've ever seen from these guys. I get that Kirby Yates is an all-star closer, but at the same time, we need to be playing better than that. Especially in crunch time situations. Like, we had many opportunities in this game to try to score, but we hardly even could have capitalized on it at all. I mean, it was definitely a huge bummer, and especially given the fact that the Mariners had lost their final 2 games this weekend. We should be in first place by now. But, I mean, it is what it is. So, going into Game 3 here, it was kind of more of the same result as yesterday. Ronel Blanco did get the start in this game, but his velocity seemed like it was dropping quite a bit in this game because he could not find the strike zone at any point during this game. Because after Marcus Semien had gotten things started with a base hit getting on base, Josh Smith, 2 batters later, had hit a fly ball on a center cut fastball that was essentially right down the middle. What is Ronel Blanco thinking, dude? If center cut fastball down the middle, anybody can hit that. Even myself. But the Astros at no point would lead in this game. Jake Myers in the bottom of the 3rd inning cut into the deficit with a home run that struck the left field foul pole. Yippee, free chicken. But that's as close as the Astros would get in this game, as Josh Smith would hit his 2nd home run of the night in the 8th inning. And honestly, dude, the Astros had really squandered their opportunities in this game after in the 5th inning when they had loaded the bases with no outs, and then after the Rangers had gone to their bullpen to bring in a new guy, they couldn't even put a ball in play. So, I mean, that was probably a 1 golden opportunity to score in this game, and we just straight up wasted it. So pathetic. Probably over the course of this weekend, luck was just not on our side, like, whatsoever in this series. I mean, it's just pathetic, and, I mean, at the same time, it comes against no other team than our in-state rivals who beat us in the ALCS last season en route to winning the World Series. The Lone Star Series is really going to be heating up because, like I said at the beginning of this video, the season series is now tied at 5 wins apiece between these 2 teams. And the final series of the season is going to be in Arlington in August. Whoever wins that series is going to get the silver boot. So that's going to be a big one. Next up for the Astros, they're going to be getting thrown right into the fire as they will be traveling to Seattle for 3 games. If they can somehow pull off a sweep in that series, they will find themselves alone in first place in the AL West. I mean, getting a series win would be okay with me, because then, at the very least, worst case, we'll just be tied for first place by percentage points. But, you know, again, we're going to see what happens. So now before we wrap up this video, recapping the first half as a whole, I mean, I think the Astros have had an okay season at this point. They went on a huge hot streak in the month of June. And then they had, even going into July, they played okay, I guess. But being 4 games above 500, they are definitely back into relevancy. And they will be going into the All-Star break as contenders. I believe just 3.5 games out of a wild card spot, but just 1 game out of first place in the AL West. So, I mean, they are definitely still in the mix for a playoff spot, but obviously they need to be playing a lot better because, I mean, July is going to be, the rest of July is still going to be a gauntlet. All of August is going to be a gauntlet. And then as the trade deadline nears, obviously we'll have to make sure that we add some pieces like some starting pitchers maybe or something like that. But I think the Astros are still in pretty good shape as they prepare to start the second half. So let's just have our guys rest up and then prepare for this and then prepare for a showdown with the Mariners. This will be our second to last showdown with the Mariners this season. They'll have one more here in Houston towards the very end of the season that could very well decide the division depending on how close the standings are. So we'll see what happens, guys. That's going to do it for this video, y'all. If you liked it, please give me a like and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to watch one of my other videos, then click these ones that are above my shoulders. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next one.